In life, you need to celebrate the successes, and yet you need to also celebrate the failures. The little things in life. Learn from your mistakes, and when the successes come along, celebrate them as well. Yesterday, I got to watch something that truly, it almost brought me to tears. And it wasn't a failure, it wasn't a setback or anything like that at all. It was a success. Something I didn't think that I would ever see, and something that seems to, at this point, spark an interest in our son's life. Yesterday, me, my wife, my mother in law, my daughter, we all got to witness something that was truly remarkable for where our son is in life at this point. Yesterday, our son, my son, was one of the lead characters in a school play. And it seems to be something that he truly enjoyed. He did a phenomenal job. Every aspect of it, he hit his marks. He did exactly what, he was supposed to do. And while other kids, seem to fumble with their roles, were shy and reserved, I guess you could say, and not wanting to take that that opportunity to, if they had to speak, or say anything, make sure that they were loud enough and that they knew their lines. I had no idea that my son had been practicing and studying for this role for, I don't know, a couple of months, from what I understand. And he did, again, a phenomenal job. It almost brought us to tears to watch just how prepared he was, and seemed to enjoy every moment of it. And every kid who was in that play, he went up and high-fived them and gave them a hug and said congratulations afterwards. And then every kid brought their parents up and introduced and said good job to him. On top of it all, everyone enjoyed and loved what he did, because he was kind of like the glue that brought it all together. I didn't know. I didn't know that he had spent months. In hindsight, looking back on it, though, there have been times when he's mentioned certain things about the solar system, planets, moon, and everything else. There are things that along the last couple of months that he said about it, but I thought for sure that my friend of mine, Jennifer, and her children, they made a book called the Solar System Squad. And I thought that's what he was interested in. And that's what he was talking about when he would talk about the solar system and the alignment, and Pluto and Mars and Saturn and Jupiter and the sun and Earth. I thought that's what he was referring to. But no, he was setting up and practicing with different things in our living room. Now I'm going to explain this to you. So he would set things up in a living room where the Earth is. He took all these different tripods and that he has, because he makes a lot of videos for himself and for others, and he had set them up in a line, and then there's one area just before the rest of the planets where everything was in a disarray. And I had no idea. I thought, well, maybe he's just trying to remember where the solar system is because of the book. He was remembering where every other student was going to be in the play. And that chaos part of it, of the entire lineup, that was where the asteroid belt is. I'm now looking back on it, and it all makes sense now looking back on it. But the little things in life, the successes. But oh, by the way, in the play, my son was the moon. He enjoyed that, and he rotated around the Earth, as the Earth was saying his lines, and then made sure everybody else was where they were supposed to be, methodically. It's like, okay, yeah, you're here, I'm here, you're here, and he made sure all the other kids knew where they were. And they reminded him, and he knew every single one of their lines and their introductions, when they were supposed to, and what they're supposed to say, and he tried to get them to bring up their voices, because some kids were shy and spoke a little low, but he knew it all. And he didn't just remember his lines and what he needed to do and what the other kids. He remembered everyone's line. But to watch him smile and come out of his shell, if you will. I mean, he's never been a reserved, kid. He's always been so happy to be part of anything and everything. And then to watch his classmates afterwards, one by one, come up to him and thank him. I mean, from the time that the play got over with to the time we were actually leaving the building, kids were coming up to him, giving him a hug, giving him high fives, thanking him for helping with everything. And the smile on his face, that how genuinely happy he was to know all of it, and to know that other people appreciated what he was doing and what he did, is so heartwarming. Again, celebrating the successes. I don't know where it's going to go from here. Will this spark an interest in his life, of stage in screen? Maybe he wants to work, something or do something else later on behind the camera and the stage, because he definitely enjoys the direction, and helping others, accomplish their goal of, again, remembering their lines. There were more than a couple of kids who came up afterwards, when we were still there in the auditorium, who thanked him for helping him practice their lines and remember where they needed to be on the stage and everything, and in correspondence, and what they needed to do once they were there. I mean, because he not only did his part, but he remembered where they needed to go and helped direct them, back to where they were, and helped narrate. The narrator, started and couldn't remember his lines, and then he gave him the first couple words to get him going, because the narrator came out, and instead of looking at the director, and the teacher and the choreographer, instead of looking at them, they turned to him to help remember what was going on. My son. I'm so proud of him for putting himself out there like this. It takes a lot. And it reminds me, there's so many of us out there who are, maybe you're watching it and maybe you're one of them. We get so into our own routines, and we get in our own way of exploring and experiencing anything new. We don't want to get hurt again. We don't want to experience failure. So we just kind of stick in and stay in our own lanes. So maybe with this message today, after this video, go do something that you've never done before. Maybe it's as simple as going to the store today and you say hello to someone or hold the door open for them, that goodwill that you paid forward to someone else in this world may be the one thing that they need. The one thing that helps them catapult themselves to a better day, to try something new themselves. But just go do something. Live life. Turn the computer off. Put the device away that you're watching this on, and go experience humanity. If someone like my son can step outside of his comfort zone and do something in front of a very, very large audience, I think there had to be close to maybe 100, 150 people there, to watch this entire play, and to not only experience it and to put himself out there where failure would have been on a grand scale for someone who's 9 years old, but to put himself out there and challenge himself to do something he's never done before. He's never been in a play. He's never done anything remotely close to this. Everything he's always done has been in a studio like this, behind the camera or in front of the camera. But this time though, hopefully it's a catapult to him wanting to do and try more things out here with society. Because in school, up to this point, it's only been just him and his close friends that he has felt comfortable with. Where the lights and the sounds and everything else is protected from him because, he gets overstimulated. But not yesterday. The bright lights were there. The music, the sounds, the people were all there. All those things that have been a trigger in the past for him weren't a trigger, weren't an issue, and in fact, were celebrated yesterday for the first time. So again, do something different today for yourself. Go out there. Experience life and do something that maybe you wanted to do. Do something maybe you didn't want to do. Maybe grab a plastic bag and go pick up trash. Go help someone, your neighbor. Or say hello to them. Do something different. Get out of your comfort zone. Because you never know. It may spark an interest in yourself to do more. It may, if you help someone, it may spark an interest in their lives. Or maybe they pay it forward to someone else and do something else for somebody else. And is that really all that bad? If we all just did one tiny little thing for someone else today and tomorrow and the day after that. If we did one little thing, what's the worst that could happen is we feel better about ourselves and we know we've challenged ourselves to do something new. You all have a great week and a great weekend ahead. And the next time I see you, until then, you stay safe out there.